exposing the secrets behind successful businesses. Starts with a simple click. Welcome to Business Diaries. Alright, let's talk about recessions. You hear this word thrown around a lot. Sometimes it's whispered by serious-looking people on the news. Sometimes your uncle mentions it at a family barbecue, right before he burns the sausages. But what does it actually mean? In simple terms, a recession is when a country's economy takes a bit of a tumble. It's like the economy was jogging along nicely, maybe even sprinting, and then suddenly it trips over its own shoelaces. Things slow down, and not in a good, relaxing, let's watch a movie kind of way. It's more like your internet connection dropping right when you're about to find out who won the talent show. Think of a country's economy like a giant shop. This shop sells everything the country makes and does. When the shop is doing well, lots of people are buying things. The shop hires more staff, it orders more goods, everyone is pretty happy. But during a recession, people start buying less. The shop isn't as busy. It might have to tell some staff they're not needed anymore. The shelves might look a bit emptier because they're not ordering as much. It's a period where the economy isn't growing, it's actually shrinking. It's a bit like when you try to bake a cake and it doesn't rise. Disappointing, right? Now, it's not just a bad day or a bad week for the economy. To officially be called a recession, this slowdown usually has to last for a few months. Imagine your favorite football team losing one match. That's bad, but it's not a disaster. But if they lose match after match for half the season, then you know something is seriously wrong. That's kind of what a recession is for a country. It's a sustained period of poor economic performance. It's more than just a blip. It's a significant slump that affects many parts of the economy for a noticeable amount of time. So, a recession means the economy is struggling. It's like it's caught a cold. It's not feeling its best and it needs some time to recover. This cold can mean fewer jobs are available. Businesses might not make as much money. People might have less money to spend. It's a period where things feel a bit tougher financially for many folks. It's important to understand this because it doesn't just affect numbers on a screen, it affects real people and their everyday lives. It's like the whole country is on a bit of a budget and everyone feels the pinch in some way. One of the main ways grown-ups in suits measure if a country is in a recession is by looking at something called GDP. GDP stands for Gross Domestic Product. Now that sounds very complicated, doesn't it? Like something you'd need a PhD to understand. But it's actually quite simple. GDP is the total value of all the goods and services produced in a country over a specific time, usually a year or a quarter. Think of it like this. If a country was a giant bakery, the GDP would be the total price of all the bread, cakes, and biscuits it baked and sold. Or if it was a massive farm, it's all the fruit, veg, and milk produced. When GDP is going up, it means the country is producing more stuff and providing more services, the economy is growing, the shop is busy, more cakes are being sold, everyone is chuffed. But if GDP starts to go down for 2 quarters in a row, that's 6 months by the way, economists often say, uh-oh, looks like we might be in a recession. It's like the bakery is selling fewer cakes, or the farm is producing less. This is a big red flag. It's a signal that the economic engine is sputtering instead of purring smoothly. Imagine you're tracking how much your little brother or sister is growing. You measure their height every few months. If they keep getting taller, that's good growth, right? GDP is like that height chart for the economy. If the line on the chart starts going down instead of up for a while, that's when people start worrying about a recession. It means the country isn't making as much money from all its activities. It's like the national piggy bank is getting lighter instead of heavier. This is a key indicator that things are slowing down significantly. So when you hear newsreaders talking about GDP figures, they're essentially giving you an update on the country's overall economic health. A falling GDP is like the doctor saying the patient's temperature is dropping. It's one of the most important numbers economists look at to see if the economy is healthy or if it's feeling a bit under the weather. It's not the only clue, mind you, but it's a very big one. It's the headline number that tells us if the economic party is still going strong, or if people are starting to pack up and go home. Another really important sign of a recession is what's happening with jobs. This is called the employment rate, or sometimes you'll hear about the unemployment rate. It's pretty straightforward. When the economy is doing well, businesses are busy. They need more people to help them make things, sell things, or provide services. So, they hire more staff. Lots of people have jobs, the unemployment rate is low. Everyone who wants a job can pretty much find one. It's like a game of musical chairs where there are plenty of chairs for everyone. But when a recession hits, things change. businesses aren't selling as much, they don't need as many workers, so they might stop hiring new people. Worse, some companies might have to let people go. This means more people become unemployed. The unemployment rate goes up. Suddenly there are fewer chairs in our game of musical chairs, and more people are left standing when the music stops. This is a really tough part of a recession because it directly affects people's ability to earn money and support their families. It's not just a number, it's people's livelihoods at stake. Think about your local high street. If businesses are booming, the cafes are hiring baristas, the shops are hiring sales assistants, and the builders are hiring laborers. But if a recession bites, those same businesses might have no vacancies signs up. Some might even close down. This means fewer job opportunities. People looking for work find it much harder. They might have to send out many more CVs and go to more interviews. It can be a very stressful and disheartening time for job seekers. The competition for each available job becomes much fiercer, so rising unemployment is a clear signal that the economy is in trouble. It's like a warning light on your car's dashboard flashing, "Problem." When lots of people lose their jobs, they have less money to spend. This in turn means less business for other companies, which can lead to even more job losses. It's a bit of a vicious cycle. That's why governments and economists watch the employment figures so closely. A healthy economy means people have jobs and security. A struggling economy often means the opposite, with more people facing uncertainty about their future. Let's talk about another clue that economists use. Industrial production. This sounds a bit like a robot army, but it's really about how much stuff factories, mines, and power plants are producing. It's a measure of the output of the industrial sector of an economy. Think about all the things that get made in big buildings: cars, computers, clothes, furniture, even the electricity that powers your telly. When industrial production is high, it means factories are busy churning out goods. This is usually a sign of a healthy, growing economy. When a recession is looming or has arrived, industrial production often takes a nosedive. Why? Well, if people and businesses are buying less, which we'll talk more about later, then factories don't need to make as much stuff. Orders dry up. Assembly lines might slow down or even stop temporarily. It's like a baker who usually makes 100 loaves of bread a day, but suddenly people are only buying 50. The baker isn't going to keep making 100 loaves, are they? They'll reduce production to match the lower demand. This slowdown in making things has knock-on effects. If factories are producing less, they might need fewer raw materials, they might need less energy, and crucially they might need fewer workers. This links back to the unemployment we just discussed. So a drop in industrial production can be a strong indicator that businesses are expecting tougher times ahead, or are already experiencing them. It shows that the demand for manufactured goods is weakening, which is a classic symptom of a slowing economy. It's like the heartbeat of the manufacturing world slowing down. Economists look at figures like manufacturing output, mining activity, and utility production. If these numbers are consistently falling, it's another piece of the recession puzzle falling into place. It suggests that businesses are becoming more cautious. They are not investing as much in making new things because they are worried they won't be able to sell them. It's a bit like the whole country is saying, let's just pause making too many new things for a bit until we see how things go. This caution can deepen and prolong an economic slowdown. Section 5, our shopping habits, the tale of consumer spending. Now let's look at something we all do: spending money. Economists call this consumer spending or retail sales. It's basically how much money ordinary people like you and me are spending on goods and services. This includes everything from buying your groceries at Tesco, to getting a new pair of trainers, to going to the cinema, or even paying for your mobile phone contract. When people are feeling confident about the economy and their jobs, they tend to spend more freely. The shops are bustling, restaurants are full, and online orders are flying. However, when a recession hits, or when people start worrying that one is coming, consumer spending often drops. If you're worried about losing your job, or if your wages aren't going up, you're probably going to be more careful with your money, aren't you? You might decide to put off buying that new fancy television. Maybe you'll cook at home more instead of eating out. You might skip the expensive holiday this year. These individual decisions, when made by millions of people, add up to a big decrease in overall consumer spending. This drop in spending is a major problem because consumer spending is a huge driver of most economies. In many countries, it makes up more than half of the GDP we talked about earlier. So, if consumers stop spending, businesses suffer. Shops see fewer customers, restaurants have empty tables, car dealerships sell fewer cars. It's like turning down the tap on the money flowing through the economy. This reluctance to spend can make a recession worse as businesses cut back further in response to lower sales. Economists watch retail sales figures very carefully. If these numbers start to fall month after month, it's a strong sign that consumers are feeling the pinch or are worried about the future. It indicates a lack of confidence. People are holding on to their cash because they are uncertain about what lies ahead. This behavior is understandable from an individual's point of view. You want to be prepared. But from an economic perspective, widespread caution in spending can unfortunately contribute to the very slowdown everyone is trying to avoid. It's a tricky situation. Section 6. The ripple effect. How recessions touch you and your local shop. So, we've talked about these big economic indicators like GDP and unemployment. But how does a recession actually affect ordinary people and businesses on a day-to-day basis? Well, it's like dropping a stone in a pond. The ripples spread out and touch everything. One of the most direct impacts is on people's incomes. If you lose your job, your income obviously plummets. Even if you keep your job, your employer might freeze pay rises, or even ask you to take a pay cut, or reduce your hours. This means less money coming into your household. For businesses, especially small ones, a recession can be incredibly tough. Imagine you own a local cafe. During a recession, fewer people have spare cash for a fancy coffee and cake. Your daily takings go down, but your costs, rent, electricity, ingredients probably stay the same, or might even go up. This squeezes your profits. You might have to make difficult decisions like reducing staff hours, cutting items from your menu, or, in the worst-case scenario, closing down altogether. It's a fight for survival for many businesses. Then there's something called consumer confidence. This is a bit like the mood of the shoppers. When times are good, consumer confidence is high. People feel optimistic about the future and are happy to spend. But during a recession, consumer confidence tends to fall. People become worried about their jobs, their savings, and the overall economy. This low confidence makes them even more cautious about spending, as we discussed. It's a psychological factor, but it has very real economic consequences. It's like everyone decides to stay home because the weather forecast looks a bit gloomy. The overall result is a general feeling of economic gloom and uncertainty. You might see more to-let signs in shop windows. News reports are often filled with stories of economic hardship. People talk more about saving money and cutting back. It can feel like the whole country is tightening its belt. Investment in new projects might be put on hold. Businesses become hesitant to expand or take risks. This atmosphere can be quite stressful and can impact people's well-being, not just their finances. It's a period where hope might feel a bit scarce. Section 7. Recession, reality, your daily life on an economic diet. Let's get really practical. How might a recession change your everyday life? Well, imagine your family is planning a big summer holiday. If a recession hits and someone in the family loses their job or is worried about it, that big holiday might be canceled or scaled back. Maybe instead of flying abroad, you decide to go camping closer to home or just have a staycation. This is a direct impact. Your leisure plans change because money is tighter or because there's more uncertainty about the future. It's about making more careful choices with your spending. Think about your weekly grocery shop. During a recession, you might find yourself looking more closely at prices. Perhaps you switch from your favorite expensive brand of biscuits to a cheaper supermarket-owned brand. Maybe you buy less meat and more vegetables because they are more affordable. You might plan your meals more carefully to avoid waste and make your food budget stretch further. These small changes in shopping habits, when done by many, reflect the economic pressure people are under. It's about becoming a more savvy, budget-conscious shopper. What about bigger purchases? Perhaps you were thinking of buying a new car, or your parents were planning to renovate the kitchen. During a recession, these kinds of large expenses are often postponed. People decide to make do with their old car for a bit longer, or live with the old kitchen until the economic climate improves. This is because big purchases often involve taking out loans or spending significant savings, which feels riskier when your job or income might not be secure. So, the car showrooms might be quieter, and builders might have less work. Even things like entertainment can change. You might go to the cinema less often and watch more films at home on streaming services because it's cheaper. Or instead of going out for dinner with friends, you might invite them over for a potluck where everyone brings a dish. People find creative ways to socialize and have fun without spending a lot of money. It's not that life stops, but the way we live it adjusts to the new economic reality. It's about finding value and making your money work harder for you during tougher times. Section 8. Don't panic! Your guide to getting recession ready. Okay, so hearing about recessions can sound a bit scary, like a monster under the bed. But the good news is, there are things you can do to prepare yourself, just in case the economy decides to take one of its little naps. The first thing, and this is always good advice, recession or not, is to try and build up an emergency fund. This is a pot of money set aside for unexpected events, like losing your job or a big, urgent repair bill. Having even a small cushion can make a huge difference to your peace of mind if things get tight. Another sensible step is to take a good, honest look at your budget. Where is your money actually going each month? Are there any expenses you could cut back on without too much pain? Maybe you have subscriptions you don't really use, or you could reduce how often you order takeaways. Understanding your spending habits helps you identify areas where you can save if you need to. It's like spring cleaning your finances, getting rid of the clutter and focusing on what's essential. This makes you more resilient. If you have debts like credit card balances or loans, try to pay them down, especially those with high interest rates. During a recession, managing debt can become much harder if your income drops. Reducing your debt burden before tough times hit can give you more breathing room. It's like lightening your backpack before a long hike. It just makes the journey easier. Think about consolidating debts if it makes sense, or speaking to a debt advisor if you're struggling. Every little bit helps. Finally, think about your skills and your job. Is your job relatively secure? Are there skills you could learn that would make you more employable or allow you to earn some extra income? Perhaps a short online course or developing a hobby into a small side hustle. Investing in yourself is always a good idea. It's not about panicking, but about being proactive. Being prepared can reduce a lot of the stress associated with economic uncertainty, making you feel more in control of your own situation, whatever the wider economy is doing. Section 9. After the storm, the rainbow of economic recovery. Now, after all this talk of slowdowns and tough times, it's important to remember one crucial thing. Recessions don't last forever. They are a part of the economic cycle, like winter is a part of the year. And just like winter eventually gives way to spring, economies do recover. Things get better. It might take time, and the path to recovery can sometimes be bumpy, but economies are resilient. People are resilient. We find ways to adapt, innovate, and grow again. It's a natural process. During a recovery, you'll start to see those indicators we talked about begin to improve. GDP will start to grow again. Businesses will start hiring, and the unemployment rate will fall. Factories will ramp up production as demand increases. And people will start to feel more confident and begin spending a bit more freely. It's like the sun coming out after a long period of rain. The mood lifts, and optimism returns. Shops get busier, and there's a general sense of things moving forward once more. Governments and central banks also play a role in helping economies recover. They might lower interest rates to make borrowing cheaper for businesses and individuals, encouraging spending and investment. They might also increase government spending on projects like building new roads or schools, which creates jobs and stimulates economic activity. These measures are designed to give the economy a helpful nudge in the right direction, to speed up the healing process. It's like giving the economy a vitamin shot to help it bounce back. So, while recessions can be challenging, they are not the end of the world. They are temporary downturns. Understanding what they are, how they happen, and how they affect us can make them seem less daunting. And knowing that recovery will eventually come can provide a sense of hope. Economies have faced recessions many times before and have always found a way to emerge stronger. It's a cycle of challenge and renewal. And like any good story, there's usually a brighter chapter after the difficult one. Keep that in mind.